Come get unready with me while I tell you some horror stories of working as a waitress graveyard shift. So I worked in a 24-hour diner in a small town. And when I tell you, like, nobody gave a single shit about this place, nobody did. Everybody had a I don't care attitude, and I quickly adapted to that attitude. And especially working the late night, like, that was awful. We're going to start off with a bang. One of my favorite stories is when I was working and we were very understaffed and we, of course, are busy. So on this lovely evening, the cooks decided to get absolutely obliterated. Like, they always got drunk, and I know they did drugs. I remember one time there was no cooks in the kitchen, so I go in the back to find them. I'm like, hey, I need a grilled cheese. Oh! And they were doing lines on the counter. And I was just like, when you're done with the, you know what, just get to it when you can. Get to that sandwich when you can, okay? But this night, I don't know what possessed them, obliterated. One couldn't walk, talk, speak, nothing. He had to go lay down in the back. The other one was just swaying in the kitchen, not knowing where he was. My manager had to shut down the whole diner for the night because nobody could cook food. And he could, but he was only one person. And there was to-go orders, it was busy, and one server. Me. So, shut down the whole place. So I was like 19 turning 20 working at this job, and we had a dishwasher that was in and out of jail all the time. No hate, but he was just one of those dirty old scoliosis men that would just like constantly wipe their nose like all over their arms and shit. Like, that's who he was. And he lived in a van outside of the establishment with his wife. He was a really odd guy, to say the least. One day he pointed at this car and he was like, is that your car? And I said, no. And then he pointed at this other car and he was like, well, is that your car? I said, why the fuck are you asking me that? And he was like, well, I just want to know what car you drive. I'm like, you don't need to know what car I drive. And he was like, I'll figure out what car you drive. I said, if you ever get near my car, I will pepper spray the fuck out of you. And he said, oh. And he never talked to me again. And when he would go to jail, it would be so random. We wouldn't have a fucking dishwasher, so dishes would be piling up and nobody would do them because I'm not doing that. I'm getting paid $2 an hour. Absolutely not. So it would reek. It would smell so bad. Also, side note, I love this cleansing balm. It has like vitamin C and stuff. You put it on and you wash your face. I love it. And it smells so good. Mind you, I worked night shifts in some graveyard, and the people that would come in towards the late, like the wee hours of the night, insane. Like, there's no way any other establishment would let these people in. One time I was serving this crackhead, and she was kind of fun to like serve because she just was so excited about everything, but she wouldn't sit down. So she would just stand in front of her table and and I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do about this? I remember I went up to her and I'm like, do you want anything? I took this lady's order. She ordered just beverages, 3 milkshakes, a Sprite, and a water. And when I brought it all out, she finally sat down and she only finished the Oreo milkshake. And when I brought it out, she was so fucking excited. She looked at me like I was Jesus, like I was God. Hold on, I'm gonna go wash my face real quick. Anyways, we had this one server. He was just a full-blown alcoholic, and he was young too. And he would just always be passed out in the booths, and like I'd wake him up, and then he'd be like, oh, and then go like attend to his tables. Yet again, one day he came in way too drunk and went to this same table 3 times asking their order after he already took it the first time. Because the first time he took it, like his notepad was just scribbles and like nothing. Oh my God. And then he put in like the most outlandish things that they did not order. They ordered a burger. He put in 5 milkshakes. But yeah, he ended up being sent home, which, yeah, you would think like, wouldn't somebody get fired for that? No, they didn't fire anybody. I think you would have had to literally murder somebody in order to get fired. Like in a normal setting, I would have been fired because I did not really do my job. I got away with so much shit. Honestly, I have so many stories of working at that place. I literally go into detail and I have so many stories, but we're gonna just leave it off at that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Good night. Come do my hair with me while I tell you some more waitress horror stories of working at that 24-hour diner. This is like day 3 hair. It's already starting to be like flat and everything, but I have work early tomorrow and I want to have it blown out, so I'm gonna just get it ready for that. My friend ended up calling me, so I was on the phone for a minute, but I washed my hair. Let's get into this. So like I said, I worked late hours, so we would get a lot of like tweakers and interesting people that would come in. And I remember this couple that came in who were obviously like on something, but they start arguing. And now my messy ass, I'm trying to figure out what they're arguing about. I had no idea what they were talking about. They were on a whole different plane of existence. They were arguing also like as though they were in a movie. The guy was like, Candace, you know how I feel about that. And I could not hear what Candace was saying because she talked like this. But baby, Candace must have whispered something insane, because next thing I know, I look over at the table and the dude gets up and he's like, Candace, I'm not doing this with you anymore. Candace, I'm done. And like, he's all up in her face and just runs away. Like, he didn't just storm off, he jogged out of the restaurant. I remember one night, I had this lady come in, and to me she appeared like a normal lady. I go up to her, I greet her, and I'm like, hi, how are you? And she goes, I'm not good. I was like, oh, are you okay? And she goes, no, I'm not okay. I need your help. And I was like, I got nervous for a minute. I'm like, oh, with what? She was so distraught. She was like, I just really need you to call somebody for me. And I was like, okay, I don't have my phone on me. Let me go grab it. So I come back with my phone and I sit down next to her and I'm like, who do you want me to call? And she's like, I want you to call the homeless shelter. And I was like, okay, what do you want me to say? And she was like, I want you to have them come pick me up. As I'm looking up nearest homeless shelters to call, she starts saying weird shit like, I think he's coming for me. Like, who's coming for you? And she wouldn't answer me, but she was just like, I'm coming from a bad situation. I need you to call the homeless shelter. So I call the homeless shelter. Mind you, it's midnight. Some lady picks up and I'm just like, hey, I have a woman here. She says she's coming from a bad situation and she needs you to pick her up. So the lady on the phone was like, we don't do that. And so I'm like, okay. I tell the lady, I'm like, they're saying that they can't come get you. And she was like, they have to come get me. They've picked me up before. They need to come get me right now. So she was being very persistent. So I tell the lady on the phone, I'm like, she's claiming that you guys have picked her up before. She doesn't seem okay. What can we do? And the lady was like, well, it is midnight. We're not taking any more people and we don't pick people up, but I'll give you the address and she can come to us tomorrow. So I write down the address and I tell the lady, I'm like, listen, they're not taking any more people in. They can't pick you up, but I have the address. I'll give this to you and you can go to them tomorrow. So then she starts crying and I'm like, listen, can I get you anything? And she's like, I don't have any money. And I'm like, listen, it'll be on me. I'll get you something. What do you want? She's like, I'll take some pancakes. So I got her some pancakes and some coffee. And then she was trying to like stay there. And my manager goes out to her and is just like, you can't stay here. And she's just like, I don't have anywhere else to go. And he's like, I'm sorry, but like you're loitering essentially, you know? She ends up leaving. She thanked me for helping her out as much as I could. And I genuinely did feel bad for her. She just looked scared and desperate and shit like that. But she ended up leaving and she had the address that I gave her. So, you know, I wish nothing but the best for her. I think one of my favorite stories, because it really set the tone for me of like what I'm getting myself into, was honestly my first month working there. There was this cook. He was really cool. He was super old school. Apparently he's been there for like a while. But I remember he was kind of just talking and he was like, yeah, I'm thinking about quitting, you know, doing something else and stuff like that. He just didn't know when. Well, on one of the days I was working, that day was his last day. So I get this customer. It's two gentlemen and they were just very difficult people. And this was earlier in the day. I think this was when I was more working night. So it was like 6 p.m. But anyway, so these two guys, so the one guy orders a steak here. I think it was a sirloin steak. So I bring out the sirloin steak and whatever the other guy gets. And this guy's like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, this is what you ordered, right? A sirloin steak. He's like, this is not cooked right. I don't really know. He had a problem with the steak. I go to the cook and I'm like, hey, I think he wants it cooked a little more. Cook cooks it a little more, give it back out to the guy. The guy still has a problem with the steak. I go back up to the cook and I'm like, he still doesn't like it. The cook cooks it some more or does whatever, because I can't even really remember what was wrong with it. Bring it back out and the man goes, I don't know what kind of establishment this is. This is not a sirloin steak. So now he's saying that this isn't even a sirloin steak. So I pull out the menu because there's pictures and I'm like, if you look right here, sir, this is a sirloin and this is what's in front of you. And he was like, I don't like your attitude. I don't want this anymore. He said, take this back. So I go up to the cook who's already irritated that he's had to redo this or cook it more. Now, mind you, the kitchen is open. Guests can see through the kitchen. The cooks can see the guests. So he's like, what the fuck is wrong with it? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I'm just going to go see if the guy wants something else. And he was like, honestly, fuck that. I don't want to cook him another thing. So I go up to the guest who clearly heard everything that the cook said. And I was like, hey, do you want something else? And the guest said, actually, no. I heard everything you said, and stands up and is pointing at the cook through the grill or whatever you want to call it that sees through the kitchen and goes, how dare you disrespect me like that? You're supposed to cook me my food. And the cook goes, exactly, I'm cooking your food. You would want to show me more respect. So now they're like arguing with each other across the restaurant. And I don't know what, it set the cook off. He took his apron off and just said, I'm out of here. I'm done. And that was his last day. I remember when I started getting cooler with this like one server. He was young and he was gay. And I remember like him telling me that one of the cooks was like super creepy towards him. And he knew who this guy was because he lived near him. But I guess he would say like crazy vulgar things to him about like sex acts. And that guy had a wife and kids. Honestly, all of them were creepy. And one of them even said something crazy to my sister. But that's like a whole other story. And then there was a moment where a lot of them quit and they hired these two literal idiots. And I've never met anybody so slow in my entire life. The lights were on. Nobody was home. Something literally wrong. I could get into that in another video, but for now, we're going to just keep it here. Maybe I might make another one. Who knows? I still got to put more rollers in my hair. I decided to make another video because now my brain is going and I'm thinking of more shit. I did post another video, part 2, if you want to go check that out. But honestly, like, none of this is chronological, so it really does not matter. So every Wednesday, this old man came in and his name was Stretch. And he claimed to be an artist. I couldn't stand this old man because he just bothered me. So when I was working more night, I would work like, late afternoon, evening, night. So he'd always come like, late afternoon. And he'd come in, order the same thing, and he'd start drawing guests, other customers, of strangers. Horrible drawings, and they all looked the same. I hated Wednesdays because Stretch was there. I don't know why, but it was just like, can this man just please leave? He's like literally harassing customers. So what he'd do is he'd sit at a table, eat his food, and then start really staring at people. And you could tell it made people uncomfortable because it's this old ass man he'd just do this. And then go up and show them and be like, I drew you. And I'm not kidding. This is what it would look like. It'd always be a side profile. This is what his art would look like. I'm not exaggerating. I mean, he had more detail and stuff, but it would be a side profile. He would have the eye like this and an eyelash over there, and they all were the same. After drawing the first person sitting at that table, he'd move to another table and start drawing another person. And would do that for like 2 to 3 hours. And then he'd go up to the person he drew and be like, look, I drew you. And then the person would be like, oh, wow, that's so cool. And then he'd try and sell them this piece of shit. And do you want to know why he was called Stretch? Was because he could do this thing with like his arms. Like, oh, no, he could do this. So he'd fold his arms back and then put them all the way forward through his like head or whatever. He would show that to people after he drew them. It was clockwork. I swear to God, every Wednesday, order the same thing. Draw multiple people in the restaurant after showing them the shitty picture. Do you want to know why they call me Stretch? Look at this. Like, get the fuck. I had no patience with that man at all. I had no patience working in that place, period. So when he would try and come up and say something to me, I'm like, Stretch, bye, please. Like, I'm trying to work. And then when I could tell he's really bothering people, I'm like, can you go sit over there? They're trying to enjoy their meal. And he's like, you're rude. Leave. I literally can't stand you. Okay, let me talk about the time that one of the cooks came up and said something so creepy to my sister. So my sister got dropped off, and this is when I was working one of the late night shifts. So she got dropped off because she was going to ride with me to Vegas. She was going to stay at my place and ride with me to Vegas in the morning. So she was up at the breakfast bar doing homework, and I guess one of the cooks decided to take upon himself to introduce himself and get out of the kitchen, never really see them leave the kitchen. So he goes up to her, and I don't know what he says, but whatever. So as I'm driving home with my little sister in the car, she's like, hey, one of the cooks said something to me and this made me very uncomfortable. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me when we were there? And she was like, because I know how you are. I didn't want to cause a scene, blah, 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 blah. When I tell you after I got back from Vegas, it was up. So I go up to my manager and I'm like, hey, tell him the situation. And I still don't really know like fully what he said. It was just him being like gross and creepy and like sexual. So I go up to my manager and tell him the situation, and he hated confrontation. He just didn't really like deal with anything. And I promise you, I feel like I dealt with like his confrontation because I just like fed on that for some reason. But anyways, I tell him what's up, and he, didn't really give me an answer to the problem. So I was like, you know what? Fuck that. Let me handle this myself. So as I'm literally talking to my manager, the cook comes out. And he wants to say, hey, what's up? Because I just got back from Vegas. And I go, don't talk to me. And actually, matter of fact, don't cross that line that leads from the kitchen to the dining room. Nobody wants to see your gross, ugly ass. You belong back there. You all are creepy and I'm over it. If you say one thing to me, it's done. And if you come across that line again, I'm going to hurt you. So I said that, definitely a little bit more aggressive and in his face. And then he quit the next day. Weird. Bye. And not only was I yelling at him, but I also was making a point about the other cooks. Like when I was saying don't cross that line, I was saying like nobody that works back there should cross that line. Because before I went to Vegas and I got really cool with that gay server that I talked about in my last video, he had confided in me that he was very uncomfortable around some of the cooks, and especially like one main cook, that he would literally have Tim, the manager, look on the cameras to see if the cooks were hanging out in the back for him to be comfortable of leaving, because we all had to leave through the back way. And I'm just like, that is such BS that you're not safe at a place that you work and you're uncomfortable leaving. That is such BS. And I just wanted to make it a point, like hopefully they got that message. I had a mouth working at that place and I don't know what, and I just loved my manager, Tim. Like he'd always just be in the same spot on the far right of the breakfast bar on his laptop, writing his fantasy stories, drinking tea, eating a steak. He just didn't like confrontation. So when there was like an issue, like I low-key like felt like an assistant manager because I would just like do the confrontation for Tim. I remember when there was like an issue and I spoke so passionately about it to Tim, and I think I like sparked some fire in him because he like confronted the issue and I was like, yes, Tim, go. That was a great day. I was so proud of him.
This is the only time that I've ever cried at work, and still to this day, I do not know how things escalated to the point that they did. So I was a server at Topgolf, and this day happened to be a really busy Saturday. I'm talking like there was no time to think, only time to just do. I get sat with this double bay of 12 people, and they get there, and we're honestly having a really good time. Introduce myself, they're cracking jokes, specifically the dad, he's like really chill. So they selected the hour option, and they were trying to get me to golf with them and the whole 9 yards. I asked if they wanted to order anything. They said they did, but they needed more time. I said, no problem, I'll come back in a couple minutes. I came back in a couple minutes, they weren't ready. Then I came back again and they still weren't ready at this point. So I tell them, hey, honestly, like I'm gonna be right around you guys. I'll be right in my section. If you guys are, when you guys are ready to order, just call me over. They call me over 10 minutes later and they're ready to order drinks. One of the tables had 9 adults at it, and then the other table was 3 like teenage boys. The adult table gets a bunch of cocktails and then the kids just get their soft drinks. At the time they placed the order for the drinks, they had 45 minutes left, which at Topgolf, the 45-minute mark is our last call for food, the last time we can put food in the system. I typically didn't follow that rule, but we were slammed that day and the kitchen was short staffed, so I knew that there was no way I was going to put in food 30 minutes before their time was up because I knew it wasn't going to come out in time. I tell them about the 45-minute last call thing. They didn't seem too concerned about it. They didn't really seem to care, and I was like, okay, like maybe they're not ordering food and they just want drinks. At the 30-minute mark, they call me over. They want another round of drinks. They don't say anything about the food, so I'm just assuming they don't want food. Then they have 15 minutes left, and at the 15-minute mark at Topgolf is when we have to close our bays out and give them the check. So I go in the bay. Mind you, this entire time we've been having a great time. We're cracking jokes. Like me and the dad are really going at it. I ask them if they want to close out. They say no, we want to order food now. And so I remind them, hey, you guys have 15 minutes left. I told you at the 45-minute mark you guys can't order food. They said that they wanted to extend 30 minutes, so then they were at the 45-minute mark and I was like, okay, perfect, like I'll take your food order and we'll get your food in. The adult table orders so much food. I'm pretty sure every single person ordered an individual appetizer and an individual entree, and then they got a couple of desserts to share with the table. And the kids table ordered 2 appetizers and that was it. I put the food in and I'm low-key geeked because I'm like, dang, I'm about to make hella money because I'm having really good rapport at this table, and they had a $600 tab. So I made sure to be right by that bay the entire time because I was like, no way am I gonna mess up my tip. So I was super attentive, super on top of it the entire time. Like I said, the kitchen was super backed up, so their food didn't come out until there was like 17 minutes left on the timer. The food comes out and I helped the food runner serve it to the table. So I checked in with everyone, making sure all their food came out good, everything was looking okay. Mind you, the dad was in the bathroom at the time the food was dropped off. And he was kind of the leader of the whole group, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna let them enjoy their food for a little bit, and then I'm gonna come back with 10 minutes left saying that they need to close the checkout. I'm right by their table when I see the dad coming back from the bathroom, and I don't know what happened in the bathroom. I don't know what went down in the bathroom, but the dad comes out with crazy eyes. He looks like he's ready to punch someone, ready to throw hands. I don't know what was going on because he was in such a good mood the entire time. He gets to the bay, and then I go over to him asking if everything came out okay and if it's okay if I close out the check. All of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but this man started berating me out of nowhere. Started yelling at me in front of all the adults in the adult bay, saying, my son didn't get his food. My son is over there starving, and all you can seem to care about is closing out our check. I asked if he wanted to extend the time, then that got him more mad. He was like, I don't want to extend the time. My son's starving over there because you messed up his order. Mind you, I knew that table had only ordered 2 appetizers. Also, the son was like 16. He was literally chilling over there, sipping his Diet Coke, having a good time, golfing with his friends. You're out here being like, my poor baby is starving. He is grown enough to order his own food. But this man is full on berating me in front of everyone. And all the tables are on the other tables that I was serving were looking at me. Everyone was looking at me and I didn't know what was going on. I don't know what happened. While he's berating me, his wife that's right next to me is like, you didn't bring us our honey mustard. I can't eat until you bring us our honey mustard. And then her friend that's sitting next to her is like, yeah, like I need honey mustard. The entire table is now asking for honey mustard and another round of drinks. And I was like, I literally asked you 10 minutes ago, like 5 minutes ago. I asked you 5 minutes ago if everything was okay and nobody said a thing. So why are you acting like I forgot something when you forgot to bring it up? Also, bitch, read the room. Your husband is literally currently yelling at me and all you can think about is, how haven't you had time to get my honey mustard? When would I have time to get the honey mustard? What are we talking about? So I'm holding back tears at this point because I'm so caught off guard and this grown ass man is yelling in my face. Low-key like what I'm doing right now. Let me chill. I'm profusely apologizing. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like I'll like get the burger and everything. We can get it comped off. Like I'll have it come out like right away. But I need to close out the check because again, we were slammed and I knew as soon as their time ended, I was going to get sat with another bay. And he's yelling at me. He's like, you know what? I want to talk to your GM. Give me your GM's contact information. I need to report you for such terrible service, blah, 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 blah. Now that really got me because my GM did not like me. She hated women. I'm not going to lie. And I knew that I had never interacted with this woman, but from what I was told, she did not like girls and I knew she was going to fire me if she found any sort of reason to. So I'm really stressed out because I'm like, what is he even going to say to her? Because I don't even know what happened. So I go to my manager asking for the GM's contact information and he can see that I'm like about to cry. Like I'm about to break down. I tell him what's going on. So he goes over to the bay and starts trying to talk to the guy. I go to the kitchen to see if I can get this kid's burger. I come back with the burger and there's like 3 or 4 managers all talking to this bay, to this man, and he's just like yelling. He's going off. I bring the burger to the son and I drop it off and the son was like, I didn't order this. I was like, I know you fucking didn't order that. And I told him that his dad was literally yelling at me because of it. And he's like, no, we haven't even talked this whole time. I don't know what you're talking about. And he was low-key rude about it too. I was like, dude, this entire fiasco is happening because you like didn't get food. So I hesitantly walk up to the dad because I'm like, I want to make sure at least I'm giving it to the right person, but to also let him know that his son didn't order this. So I asked, I was like, yeah, your son's the one right over there, right? He starts yelling at me. He was like, yeah, are you like fucking stupid? Just again, yelling at me. And I was like, well, I gave it to him and he said that he didn't order this. Dad was like, what are you talking about? And then he yells over across his son. He's like, yo, did you like not order that? I thought you were gonna order food. The son was like, no, I literally told you beforehand that I didn't want to order food because I'm not hungry. And then he was like, the dad was like, oh, okay. Doesn't apologize to me, like nothing. Time has run out at this point and the managers had to call the guest services to tell them to not seat my section. They're not even done with their food. The managers are telling them that they need to get out of the bay because this bay is about to be sat again and that they need to be closed out. So then they come over to me saying they want to close out, but they want to do an itemized split. 3 different ways, which 3 ways is like manageable. It's not that bad, but it's like all of that shit just went down and you're telling me that you want to itemize split your bill? Yeah, no. I literally was like about to, like the tears were about to spill over at this point. And eventually one of the ladies was like, you know what, let's just do an even split. I hand out the checks, the dad's in front of me filling it out and he was like, this is the worst service ever. Like this is the worst experience I've ever had. And I just am profusely apologized. I'm like, I'm so sorry that like you haven't been having a good time. And he was like, stop fucking saying that. You obviously don't fucking care. And I was like, oh my God, like, what do you want me to say? Each of their checks was $200. The dad, I thought was gonna tip me nothing, still tipped me $30. Then the other 2 people tipped me $50 each. And I was just so stressed over the whole thing that my manager was like, you know what, I'll just bust the bay. Why don't you go in the back and just take a breather? I go to the back, I start sobbing because what the fuck just happened? After a couple minutes, I collect myself. I go back out there because I still have other tables, mind you. 2 ladies from before, the wife and the friend, come up to me and they're apologizing to me. They're like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know what happened. And then they hand me $100 bill. So that like low-key dried up the tears real quick. But yeah, to this day, I don't know honestly like what was going through that man's mind or like what even happened, but he never reported it to the GM, and I still made $230 off that table. So low-key still a win in the end.
Okay, so a lot of you guys were asking about like Claire's story times because working at Claire's is kind of a niche experience. And I was thinking of what story time to tell you guys. I thought of one. It's the one that I literally haven't talked about or like looked back on because it was low-key traumatizing. I was working alone, and you might be thinking, but you are a man. Like, working alone, people fear you. Wrong. I'm 5'3", and I have bright blue hair. No one fears me. No one fears me. Like, I will be and sold as small 100-pound blue hair man before I instill fear in anyone. Okay? So these two guys come in, and they're very obviously like not Claire's shoppers. And I'm not saying you have to look a certain way to shop at Claire's, but like you do though. And I can say that because I've seen our clientele, and it ranges, it varies, but not this far. So these two guys come in, and they're wearing like neon colors, but like black everything else, like black pants, black gloves, like black hats, and then like neon. One is wearing an orange hoodie, and the other one's wearing a neon green hoodie, and there's a dude outside with a yellow hoodie. And I was like, this is chill, like y'all match, that's cute. And then they come in, and I'm like, they're like mid to late 60s, but I'm like, they may be needing to accessorize their outfits. Maybe they're looking for accessories that match their outfits. Like maybe they're doing a little thing, I don't know. So I go up to them, and I'm like, hey, are you guys looking for anything specific? And he puts his hand on my shoulder, and he says the name of the store. Now, I'm not going to say it because it is still up and running, and I don't want to end up on a watch list. And he's like, this store. And I was like, mm-mm. And he was like, that's where we are. And I was like, no, this is Claire's. Like, what? And he like laughs, and he's like, don't be scared. And I was like, oh, I wasn't. But now I might be. Like, what do you mean don't be scared? Be scared of what? And I'm like, I'm fine. What are you guys looking for? And he's like, weird.
He was looking for hugs.
And I was like, I don't sell that. And that's what I said, because I'm like, that's the only, it's like kind of when you imagine yourself in a situation where you need to say the right thing to not get in trouble and like get maybe like, I don't know, kidnapped or something scarier. That's what was going through my head. So I was like, oh, I don't sell those here. And he's like, I know you do. This is where they told us to go. And I was like, who? Who told you? He laughs in my face, and he's like, I can't say. What is happening? So then he pulls out this little crumpled up piece of paper and gives me this crumpled up piece of paper, and it has like some random word on it that I'm assuming is like a password. And I was like, what's that? And he was like, you don't know what this means? And I was like, no. And he's like, he says the store name again, and I'm like, yeah, I think there's one in the mall like a couple towns over, but it's not here. And he shows me like a Google Maps on his phone, and he's like, this is where they said to go. These were the coordinates. And I was like, this has been at Claire's for as long as I've worked here. And he was like, recently? Did it recently change? And I was like, yeah, probably. No, we've been here since like the 70s or something. But I'm not going to tell him that, because why would I say that and upset him further? So then he's like, so you don't have drugs? And I was like, no, I don't have drugs. And I'm trying to keep my cool, but I'm like cold sweat, And he's like, okay, where do I go? Tell me where to go. And I was like, okay, it's just out here, and then go to this town, and then it's in this mall, in this entrance. And he's like, you swear? And I was like, yep. And then he leaves. Obviously, my super smart brain, before calling my security phone number, I call my manager, and I'm like, oh my god, this was so scary, I don't know what to do. And they were like asking me
hugs,
like blah 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 blah, and my manager is like, you idiot, like call security, what are you doing? So I was like, oh, genius idea, you what? So I call security, and I'm like, hey, I just had these two guys in here, and they went out and met up with this other guy, and they were wearing these color hoodies, and they asked me
hugs,
for asking for this store. And he's like, what the hell? Okay, I'll like check out the area. And I was like, okay. So then he checks it out, doesn't find anything, and he comes back, and he's like, what'd you say they were wearing again? And I was like, oh, they were wearing this, but I told him to go here. He was like, all right, I'll get in touch with that security. And I was like, okay. So then fast forward, I was kind of traumatized. It was a little horrifying. But I go to that mall that I was talking about, and we come across that store, and I'm like, telling my friends the story, and I'm like, this is a front. Like, I know that. I am on the in enough to know that this is a hardcore front. So they're like, we have to go in. And I'm like, yes, we do. So we go in, and we're looking around, and there's a lot of, like, knockoff, like, Pop Mart style stuff, right? Like, you know, like blind boxes, Hello Kitty stuff, like, basic stuff, the kind you see. I mean, I don't know if it's a Northern California thing, but it's everywhere at those little pop-ups. And then in the back, there's, like, a beaded curtain with another curtain behind it, and I'm like, that's where. Like, that is where they are. I am 100% sure. Gotta post that one on my story. But I'm like, that is where they are. I'm sure of it. So we look around for a little, and then we get the hell out of there, because what? Anyway, Claire's story time. Beautiful things.
I am so tired of restaurants having this mentality that the customer is always right. For those of you that don't know, I am a server, and I had a table of 6 today, and it was someone's birthday, and so I take their order, and they're very fucking specific, which is fine. I'm generally used to people being extremely specific about their order, especially older people. And so I put in their order, and when they get it, one of the ladies got an Eggs Benedict, and her eggs were hard. I will admit, they weren't poached to the point where the inside was gooey. Okay, and I asked her, I'm like, do you want me to send it back? Do you want me to get you a new thing of eggs? And she's like, well, if you get me a new thing of eggs, like, I'm just gonna have to wait a really long time, so, like, don't worry about it. So I say, okay, no worries, I'm really sorry. I then tell my manager about the situation, and I'm like, hey, is there any way that you can touch the table? Because her poached eggs were not how they're supposed to be. So I just want you to ensure that everything's okay. She goes to check on the table, and they had no complaints. They said that they were fine, they were good, everything's fucking perfect. I went to check on this table literally like 3 fucking times, saying, is everything good? Is everything okay? To which everyone at this table said, yeah, we're perfect, we're good. When they are done, I get the birthday guy, I should say, a cheesecake on the house with a candle, and I even go behind him and light it so he doesn't see me, and then I put it in front of him so everyone can sing him happy birthday. And mind you, before this, the birthday guy asked me to give him specifically the bill, which I thought he was just being modest, as a lot of people fucking do, especially in that circumstance. So I was like, oh yeah, sure, like, I'll give you the bill, because I wanted to consult with the table before I did that. Not only did I give him this cheesecake, but they had brought a cake specifically for his birthday. So I helped set it up, get plates and spoons to make this occasion special. We lit up the candles, they sung happy birthday, and I thought that that was gonna be it. But it wasn't. At the end of the event, I was talking to another table, and the birthday guy is like, hey, we're on a time crunch. I need the fucking bill. I need it now. And I'm like, okay, like, I'll get it right now. And before I directly hand it to him, I, like, go to, like, look at the party, and I'm like, are you sure? Like, are you really the one who's paying for it? Like, it's your birthday. And he's like, we already delegated this. Give me the fucking bill so I can pay you. And I'm like, okay. After they pay, I'm standing at the host stand, and the birthday guy comes up to me, and he's like, I just want to let you know that the tip that I'm giving you is reflecting, like, the service overall. He's like, several people in my party, like, did not get the food that they were expecting, and I'm just telling you right now, as you as a server, like, because of that, like, I'm only giving you like 10%. I literally tell him, I'm like, sir, like, I'm sorry, but it's not my fault that the kitchen kitchen fucked up. Like, it's not my fault that everything went wrong. I literally asked you guys so many times if everything was okay, and you guys told me yes. We literally just get into a feud about that. And he's like, look, I'm still giving you a tip, which means you should be fortunate enough that I'm fucking doing that. And then he goes back to the table and he's talking to my manager. And of course my manager is like, oh yes sir, I'm so sorry sir, like this won't happen again, blah blah blah. And then he goes towards his table and he's like, yeah, I just want to let you know that my tip is reflecting the service overall. Even though I did so fucking well, I'm a good fucking server. And so I look at him and I'm like, sir, like it wasn't my fault. And he was like, see, this is what I fucking mean. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so my manager literally like makes this motion to me saying like, stop. And then she comes up to me and she's like, the customer is always right. And I'm like, but he wasn't. Like, I didn't do anything wrong. So because the kitchen fucked up, I ended up with $16 on a $250 bill. 16 fucking dollars. I literally, when I closed that check, I almost wanted to be like, fuck his tip. I don't even want him to give it to me anymore. And then of course, my manager had to report it to my general manager, right? And my general manager told my manager to just take me off of work, like just take me off the fucking clock, send me the fuck home, and she'll talk to me when she gets back from vacation. And I work this Thursday. And I asked one of my managers late at night, and I'm like, do you think I'm gonna get written up? And he was like, probably. And I'm just sitting here like, bro, like I didn't do anything wrong. Like he disrespected me. Like he shouldn't have brought this to me. He should have brought this to my manager. Because I touched the table multiple times. My manager touched the fucking table twice. And they said everything was fine. So it's like, I'm sorry, but it's like the fucking customer is not always right. And now I have to worry about being written up. And I have to worry about getting a bad fucking review. And I'm just like, I don't fucking deserve this. This is just so fucking unfair. Because when my manager was talking to this guy, she just like accommodated him. She was just like, I'm sorry, you're totally fucking right. Like not standing up for me as a server whatsoever. She was not on my side. And I was like, I didn't do anything wrong. And now I'm gonna get written up, and I've never been written up for anything in my entire fucking life. And I'm just like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, why shouldn't I be able to stand up for myself when he was being so fucking, like, just rude to me and not, you know, just, he didn't make sense. Like, I tried so hard. I spent so much energy on this fucking table. Like, and the worst part is that one of the people at his table, when she was going to the bathroom, literally said, oh, you did a phenomenal job. Thank you so much. You made this experience so fucking great. And then all the people at his table, literally said that he was overreacting, and mind you too, the entire time I was talking to him, I was level-headed. Like, I wasn't raising my voice. I wasn't being fucking, like, I didn't have an attitude. I wasn't being sarcastic. I was referring to him as sir the entire time. And now, like, my GM is gonna talk to me on Thursday, and it's like, I don't think that I deserve to be written up. I don't think that I did anything wrong. Like, they're just scared of him making a fucking Yelp review, talking poorly on the restaurant, rather than the fact that, like, he, like, fucking was so mean to me. Fuck. If you are considering working at a restaurant, work for a fucking family-owned business, not a fucking chain, because the family-owned businesses are more likely to actually look out for you, whereas the chains do not give a fuck about you. You are replaceable. They don't fucking care. They don't care. And I know this doesn't seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but this is my job, this is my livelihood, and it's like, I'm always being mistreated.
So this is my first summer being a server, and this is the first night I've had a table make me cry. So I figured I would share. If you're having a bad day, listen to my story. It'll probably make you feel better, or, I mean, if it doesn't, like, I'm there with you, bud. So I go in at 4. First table of the night is a table of 7. So I'm like, yes, because usually big tables, like, you get a big tip. So I'm watering them, and they're already giving me bad vibes, and they order drinks. And I come back, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, we can't do dirty martinis tonight. Like, we don't have any olive juice and the olives that you need. And they literally looked at me. They were, like, disgusted. They were like, we might need to go somewhere else. Like, talking right in front of me, they're like, how come this restaurant not have that? Like, we need to go somewhere else. And then they look at me, they're like, are you sure that you know what you're talking about? And I'm like, yeah, I just asked the bartender. I didn't say that, but I was like, yeah. So there were 2 old ladies at the table, rudest old ladies, like grandmothers I've ever witnessed in my entire life. Like, they were talking shit about me every time I was over at the table, just so I could hear. Like, they knew what they were doing, okay? And they were like, huh, like, it was in fucking high school. Like, I'm sorry, you're 80 years old. What are you doing with your life? So anyway, they're like, we're gonna split a margarita pizza. So I'm like, okay, do you want a small or a large? Because a lot of people split a small pizza because it's 12 inches and the large is 16, blah, 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 blah. Like, they're big. Our pizzas are big. And so they both look at me and they, like, laugh at each other. And they're like, we said we're splitting. Did you not hear us? Like, we want a large. And I'm like, whoa. Like, the fucking attitude. Like, what? But I'm like, okay, like, sorry. So then I was like, oh, what would you 2 ladies like? Like, the 2 women that were there. And they were like, we're also going to split a pizza. Like, we want, like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, do you want a small or a large? Because I'm supposed to ask everyone that because the smalls are relatively big. And as she's, like, asking me, like, oh, what are the sizes of each? I can hear the 2 fucking old ladies. And they're like, did she really just fucking ask them if they wanted a small or a large after what we just said to her? And they're like, she must be new. Like, she has no idea what she's doing. Like, right in front of me, super loud. And no one is saying anything at the table. There's 2 kids at the table. They're both, like, on their fucking iPads. But I was just like, what? And I could hear them. And I wanted to be like, but, like, you can't because then you won't get a tip. So it's like, you, like, go crazy. So then as their pizzas are, like, about to come out, the grandfather, like, calls me over and he's like, I'm gonna need to order a double shot because she didn't put any Tito's in this. And I was like, okay, I'm so sorry. Like, she probably did. Like, she must not have put enough. Like, I'll definitely put in a double for you, even though we can't usually do that. And he's like, damn, what can this restaurant fucking do? And then they start talking shit about my restaurant right in front of me. So I just walk away and I put in a double. And then his pizza comes out and I'm like, oh, sir, like, this is your pizza, as I'm, like, grabbing it. And he's like, do not give me my pizza before I get my drink. This is insane. This is insanity. And starts going off. And I'm like, what? You just asked me for your drink 2 minutes ago. Like, she's still making it. There's people in the restaurant still. On top of this, I had a table of 9 right next to them. And they saw me struggling with the table of 9 and they didn't give a shit. They just kept talking shit about me. It was just the fact that I had to, like, put on a fake smile the entire night just to get tipped like shit. Like, it's just, it takes something out of you, dude.
I had to put a father in his place tonight at work. It was a 4-top, dad, wife, 2 teenage daughters. I approached the table, I'm like, how are y'all doing? And he goes, other than women in their periods, I'm doing great. Whoa. I'm, like, a pretty gracious server overall. Like, you know, I'll give you a couple strikes before I really feel like I need to, like, say something. But, you know, I look at the girls and I'm like, oh, I completely understand. Like, trying to empathize with the ladies, right? Like, you know, that I've been there, totally get it, you know, whatever. And we start doing drink orders, and I'm like, anything else y'all, you know, need before I give you a few minutes? And he makes another comment about it. He's like, other than dealing with periods. I look at him and I go, so are you feeling good about embarrassing your daughters right now? Is that what you're going after? I'm laughing, but I'm like, you feel good about that? And I said, I gave you the first one, but I might have to give you a little pushback now. Because I'm like, dude, what is your goal here? Like, your daughters are being perfectly pleasant with me. Your wife seems like a delight. Like, I really don't understand what you're getting out of telling another female, another gal who's also dealing with a period, that you're annoyed by the women in your life just, like, being women. Like, just so weird. And honestly, like, I give the guy respect. He totally, like, didn't make another comment about it, and
was really nice to me the rest of the meal, like felt like the family had a nice meal, and then tipped me really well. So I hope he like took that, and like maybe no one had ever called him out and been like, hey, you don't actually need to be doing that right now. But it was so strange. Like, what was the point of that?
Hey, I'm a server. I worked a 13.5-hour shift today on hour 10. These two ladies get sat in my section. I walk over. I said, hey guys, how we doing? My name is... She said, I need something strong. Cool. Fuck me. I said, what about Long Island iced tea? She said, is that strong? I said, yes, ma'am. No worries. She said, all right, I'll take one. Perfect. I bring it out to her. I let her take a few drinks of it. I swing back and I said, hey, how is it? She said, take this shit off my table. I taste no liquor and I taste nothing but tea. I said, really? She said, yeah, whoever made this, a kindergartner can make better drinks than this. I said, wow, well, there's 5 shots of liquor in there. Vodka, tequila, gin, rum, triple sec, a splash of sweet and sour, and a little Sprite and Coke. There's not even tea in there. I don't care. Take it off my table. Okay. So yeah, they tipped me $2 on a $98 check.
Why the fuck are you, as an adult, letting your child yell at your server, clap at your server, and then you as the adult, right, seeing this happen, see me walking up to your table, still going, hey, over here. I cannot even get my name out. I can't even greet you. Why the fuck is the first thing coming out of your mouth? Oh, I want this, and I'm getting this, and I need it ASAP before you bring anything else. Okay, fine, I'll go put it in. I'm putting it in. Literally 2 minutes later, why the fuck are you calling me over again? Why are you calling me over again when I just put your drink in? Can the bar fucking make it? Can the bar read the fucking ticket first? Then I go get your shit. I bring it to your table, stepping at me, still yelling at me. Then I'm like, okay, are we ready to put our orders in? Why are you telling me your order while your children are yelling at me at the same time? This motherfucker's yelling at me because they want fries. This motherfucker wants chicken fingers. This motherfucker wants mac and cheese. That motherfucker wants a Sprite. Why are you letting your children yell at me and you're gonna try to talk over them at the same time? What is wrong with y'all? I got a new table. I'm greeting them. I'm getting their orders. Why am I speaking to my table and I hear you behind me yelling at me, hey, I need this. Do you not see me speaking to a group of other people? And mind you, this table was already annoyed from the minute they sat down, and then I knew they were already going to be a problem. So I'm trying to do my best, put a smile on, and give these people, a good time so maybe they can be a little nice. But y'all are making my life even more fucking difficult. Why? Do you think it's okay to go and bother another server to take plates and glasses off of your table? Mind y'all, this isn't piles and piles of plates. These are small fucking plates, maybe 2 of them, right? And 2 empty glasses of the shit you just finished. And you told me to put in another round of. She came up to me with plates in her hand, right? I'm like, why the fuck do you have those plates? She's like, oh, your table so-and-so? I'm like, yes, please don't tell me that they gave you those fucking plates. She was like, no, yeah, they gave me the plates and they told me to come up to you to check on the drinks because they're waiting on the drinks. I just put it in! You just told me to put these drinks in 2 fucking minutes ago! Why are you bothering my coworker for this shit? I tried to be fucking patient, especially since there was a small language barrier, but not really, because they spoke mostly Spanish. I speak Spanish. This is my people. I can speak to you. You can speak to me. We were fine. So there's no reason for y'all to be disrespectful. I had to tell that table like 4 times. I had to turn around, tell them 4 fucking times, okay, give me a second, I'll be with you in a minute, because that's how many times they fucking interrupted me and tried to yell at me, get my attention while I was talking to another fucking table. And then afterwards, when I bring them all this shit, they're like, okay,
we're ready for the check because we forgot we're going out to a party, so can you hurry up? I don't give a fuck about your party. I could not give less of a fuck about your fucking party, and you're rushing me again. Y'all been rushing me since the minute y'all sat down because you think you're so fucking entitled to shit. Y'all are acting like we're at some fucking high class fucking restaurant, and you guys are like known people where we gotta act as. No! Nobody knows you! This is a chain restaurant! And y'all know that table that was already pissed when they were sitting down? Yeah, those motherfuckers, guess what? Their bill was $100. They left me 3 singles and a fucking handful of quarters. I did nothing to piss you off. If anything, I gave you more respect than I've been given all day. And you're gonna leave me 3 fucking crumpled up singles that were in the bottom of your bag in fucking quarters? I have 1 table left. Why the fuck is it 2 men who are about my age? And y'all, I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm not trying to sound like conceited, whatever. When it's a guy my age, 9 out of 10 fucking times, they're gonna flirt. They're gonna say something nasty. They're gonna ask for my number. They're gonna ask for my Instagram. I'm trying to have high hopes. I'm literally praying that this is quick and they fucking leave. Yo, they were quick. But tell me why. And it was one of them. I knew it was gonna be one of them. The other one was great. This other one, oh my God, he got a drink, didn't like it after he drank half of it, right? He got an appetizer, didn't like it after he ate half the fucking plate, right? Didn't like it. Okay, fine. I'm being nice. I'm taking this shit off the bill. They're like, okay, I'm ready for the bill. Whatever. I'm like, okay, cool, you can pay here. He's like, thank you, fine shit. His friends started laughing at him. I laughed with him. Because are you fucking, that shit just, it's awkward. First of all, it's rude. Second of all, and third of all, just shut the fuck up. Like, why are you even talking at this point? Do not fucking flirt with your server because I guarantee you he or she is not interested. I guarantee you. Unless y'all been chopping it up and there's a vibe going on, leave them the fuck alone. Some more of the story. Be fucking respectful to your servers, okay? Do not go out if you cannot fucking tip properly. And third of all, leave your kids home if you cannot fucking control them. And if you're in a bad mood, remember, that's not the server's fault. If you had a shitty day, your boyfriend broke up with you, your husband cheated on you, fucking you got fired from your job, and you decide to go out with people, do not take that fucking anger out on your fucking server. Because I guarantee you they probably already had a bad day as it is.
This creepy male interviewer asked me what type of shampoo I use. In 2021, I was looking for internships and I came across this one on LinkedIn and I applied for it. It was just a marketing position and I immediately heard back from this guy and he texted me saying, oh, do you want to have a call about this job? Which a text should have just been a red flag on its own, but you know, I was desperate for an internship, so I was like, yeah, of course. Right after I respond, I immediately get a FaceTime from this number. And I was like, oh, I thought we were doing like a phone call because that's like normally what you do. Immediately I knew that this didn't feel right, but I answered and it was a guy that was probably about like 25 years old. He looked very young. Right when I answered, he mentioned like something about my looks and like how I was pretty. And immediately I got very uncomfortable because like this guy is supposed to be interviewing me. He probably talked about the job for a good 10 minutes and we sat on FaceTime for an hour. He was obviously flirting with me and I probably should have cut it short, but I didn't really know much about the job world. So I was like, okay, maybe he's just trying to like get to know me, kind of like act young, be cool. On this call, he was asking if I had a boyfriend, if I had any siblings, what my family was like, what my best blackout story was. Like, what? I felt very uncomfortable. And then he sends me a text and he's like, okay, it's between you and another girl. I'll let you know if you get the job by the end of the week. After he called me saying that I got the job, he immediately sent over an NDA and something else to sign. And at that time, I was like very doubtful and very scared because I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I feel bad because I want the job. And at this point in my life, I was desperate for an internship. I've had applied to so many positions and I literally heard back from none. And finally, when I hear back from one, of course, the guy is freaking weird. I signed it and I accepted the position. So here's where the shampoo comes into play. The day after I signed to work with this man, I just had a feeling that he was gonna call me the next day because he always had a tendency to call me. And like, this internship was starting in a month, and he did not need me at this time, you know? I just had a feeling that I was gonna see a missed call on my phone from this dude. His name was Blake. I'm gonna just freaking put his name out there. His name was Blake, and I see missed call from Blake. I was like, ugh. I call him back, and he answers the phone, and he was like, what were you doing that you couldn't pick up my phone call? Little old me was like, oh, sorry, I was taking a shower, what's up? You know, if this man was actually normal, by me saying I was taking a shower should not have even, like, fazed him. He goes, oh, you were taking a shower? What type of shampoo do you use? And I was like, huh? Like, after all these weird questions that he's been asking me, I just got fed up in that moment. I was like, why do you need to know what shampoo I'm using? And he was like, that was a pretty long shower. How long do you normally shower for? Bro, excuse me? It literally was a 10-minute shower too, like what? I was so fed up and I was like, I don't even care about this internship anymore. I'm texting him and I'm saying I found another job. I said it in the nicest way possible and he cursed me out. I'll upload the messages, hold on. Just pause to read, like... But if you thought that was bad, the story literally gets worse and I see this man in person on accident. Like for part 2. To make this story even worse and kind of creepy, I looked up this interviewer's name on Google right after I posted this, like last week. The first thing that comes up was his obituary. Mans was 27 and randomly passed away unexpectedly. So now I kind of feel bad talking about him because, like, he's not here. But, like, he kind of was a creep, so I don't know. I'm just here to give you guys part 2. After I declined the position, I luckily found another internship that had a normal boss. I knew this guy was from New Jersey and I'm also from Jersey, but I never thought I would run into him, like, anywhere. So it's summer, I'm down the shore with my friends and we are at Seaside Boardwalk and we are at Spicy's. I look over and I see this dude smiling at me, like smirking, and he's alone. And I, like, look at him and I'm like, just, like, give him a smile and I, like, look back at my friends and I just keep talking to them. In the back of my head, I'm like, that guy looks, like, oddly familiar. Like, I've never met this, like, interview guy in person. I've only seen him on FaceTime, so, like, I don't really know how tall he is or what he, like, actually looks like, and it's been a couple months. Summer of 2021, I had bleach blonde hair. Don't ask me why. But I was pretty unrecognizable. So in the corner of my eye, I see him walking over and he approaches me and my friends. And he's like, hi, I thought you were really pretty. Like, I saw you from across the bar and I was wondering if I could buy you a drink. And of course I'm like, oh, free drink? Like, yeah, sure. So he keeps talking to my friends and I'm like looking at him and I'm like, holy fuck, it's the interview guy. I am standing there frozen and I'm looking at my friends. I'm like, guys, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. And they're looking at me like I'm crazy. They're like, this guy just came up to us and, like, he's offering to buy us all free drinks now. Like, can we just stay for a second? Obviously, in the moment, I didn't know if that was actually him because I didn't ask his name. So I look at him, I'm like, oh, like, what's your name? He goes, oh, my name is Blake, what's your name? And in that moment, I literally was like, holy crap, this is the same Blake that asked me how long my shower was a month ago, what my best blackout story was, like, what type of shampoo I use. I was, like, literally freaking out in my head. I'm like, I'm Melissa. Nice to meet you. I really should have called him out on his bullshit, but I was, like, so scared in that moment because, one, he was there alone, which was, like, weird. Two, he was just, like, giving off very weird vibes. After he told me his name, I ran away. I literally ran so far away. And I'm, like, telling my friends, I'm like, guys, come on, come on, come on. Finally, the guy leaves them alone, and they come over to where I... They come over to where I was and they're like, what's wrong? Like, literally, what is wrong? Like, that is the creepy interview guy. And they're like, what the fuck? They're like, why didn't you say anything sooner? Then my friend goes, he literally gave me his business card. I was like, what the fuck? But rest in peace.
I've worked in retail for 15 years and I've dealt with some crazy shit. And I just stand there and cop it. The customer's always right. You stand there and cop it. I have defended my staff before, that's totally fine, but if it's directed at me, I will just sit there and go, yep, 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 thank you, there's the door. However, today I cracked for the first time in 15 years in my job, and I think it was very, very valid. So this lady was very disgruntled with me because I wouldn't honor the 20% promotion that we had running until I think end of last Monday or Tuesday. I honestly can't remember. I just explained, it's not fair, I honor to you because everyone's been asking me for it and it has finished. I go to Witchery and I go to Zimmerman, and when their sale ends, they don't honor it for me. That's just life. I'm sorry. If you don't want the item, you don't have to buy it. I'm not holding a gun to your head. It's totally fine. She wanted to buy it still. And she was like to me, it's for my friend with cancer. And I said, oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. I said, well, look, I do have a 10% off day. I'm more than happy to honor the 10%, but I just can't do the 20% promotion because it doesn't exist anymore. And she was like, but what's it to you? It's not coming out of your pocket. I said, I'm just doing my job and I can't honor it. She's like, well, then I'll speak to the manager. And I said, yes, speaking to her. Not honoring it. Like, it's just not happening. Anyway, so she goes, will you at least gift wrap it? I said, yeah, of course, I'll gift wrap it. Like, that's not an issue. So I gift wrap the item, and as I'm doing it, I said, I'm just, I don't like awkwardness. So I said, I'm really sorry again for the inconvenience. And she goes, no, you're not. And I said, okay, well, I am, so I'm just apologizing. And she had this look of pure evil on her face. It was quite wild. And she goes to me, she goes, I hope your hair never falls out. I said, what? I said, sorry, what did you say? And she goes, I hope your hair never falls out. Like as if she was saying, I hope you never get cancer. And I just had this wave of instinct and I said, that's disgusting. I said, what you just said is disgusting. Now, I have severe health anxiety as a side note. Like I haven't slept in months. I get overwhelmed and overworked over any small symptom in my body. And this lady has just brought up the cancer word and losing my hair, which as a female is quite a sensitive topic. And I just looked at her and shook my head and I started crying. And I've never, ever cried in front of a customer for that sort of reason. And I just cried and she goes, oh, go and you're crying now. And I said, you're disgusting. I said, you're disgusting. And I pushed the bag to her and I walked off. And as I walked off, she was like, oh, go ahead, go and walk off and cry. You know what? I work in a prestigious shop, in a prestigious area. And I have never been so appalled by this person and what she had to say. That is disgusting. I'm sorry. All I'm doing is my job and I've said no to you and you can't be a grown-ass woman and cop that for what it is that you felt the need to bring me down who I don't know who you are. I've never met you in my life. You're disgusting. And sorry, I don't want to say I hope karma strikes you because I don't believe in karma, but I seriously hope that you feel guilty for what you said because that is foul.
I'm no longer working with one of my clients, so that means I can finally talk about an experience that happened and share it with you guys. This experience just didn't sit well with me. I'm not trying to expose them and I'm not even gonna name names. I just want to put this out there because if you're a creative or you work a non-traditional job, or even if you work a traditional job, you are not safe. Backing up, obviously I'm a social media manager, but I also have a social media of my own. We all have Instagram, we all have TikTok. But anyways, I let someone who was on my client's team follow me. I mean, I'm public, anybody could really follow me. It wasn't an issue until it was. This is a very long story short kind of situation, but basically I was working with this company, had worked with them for a few months, and then they told me that they didn't have budget to pay me my full rate, so that I should do my best to finish out the month. And basically I was not going to get paid for the work that I had already done and planned. And I kind of felt bad for this company, and I'm not out for blood, I'm not out for money, so I just let that happen. And I was like, all right, whatever, I will just do my best like I was instructed. And at the end of that month I was going to Africa anyways, so I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just post for the full month, and then when I get to Africa I'll just stop my posting there, and that will be me doing my best. I ended up doing that, and I got this text while I was on vacation. This woman put me in a group chat, was trying to make me look bad for stopping work. even though we had discussed that. The reason that she even texted me in the first place was because she saw my Instagram story and she saw that I was in Africa. Basically was like, I saw that you were on vacation because of something that you posted. And I was like, wait, that's an incredible invasion of my privacy and my space and my personal time and my boundaries. And it's as if like I'm not allowed to live a life. And I just kind of was like taken back. I was like, whoa, this has gone too far. Like, you are not safe on social media. If you let anybody from your team or someone who's like a coworker follow you, just be aware that they might use it against you. And I think that's like incredibly wrong. You are allowed to have a personal life outside of work, and that should be allowed, no questions asked. So this happened and I was like really taken back. I'm sharing this not to expose the client because I don't have any bad blood with the client. It's just like something that I wanted to get out there because a lot of people work in social media or creative jobs or anything like that. And so this is something that you just need to be aware of and watch out for. Has anyone else dealt with anything like this or have a story to share?